So a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen with stocks going forward. What's the Fed going to do? Are they going to carry on hiking? Are we going to see interest rates stay higher for longer? Are they going to be forced to cut early in the year, or are we going to have to wait towards the end of the year for rate cuts? And how is this all going to affect the NASDAQ? So I've got a path in mind for the NASDAQ. I think we're probably going to new all-time highs at some stage, but I think we're going to have to pull back first. The rally from the bottom on the 26th of October up until yesterday was 14.2%, a massive rally. And that's more than a year's worth of work in just a couple of weeks. You're going to see on my chart two obvious features. One is this channel which we broke out of recently, which turned out to be a bull flag, despite the lower lows and lower highs. And we broke out through the top of that channel, simultaneously through the 100, the 50, and the 20 period moving averages. But over 14% is just too much in a couple of weeks. And I think we're going to be aiming back to the top of the channel. You can see on this chart, I've got a bigger pattern too. That's denoted by this sort of shaded beige area here and these outside lines. It's easier seen on a weekly chart. And you can see I've drawn a megaphone pattern. Now this hasn't formed yet, and there's no indication that it will form. But the megaphone or expanding pattern is often missed in technical analysis, and it's a very powerful and reliable pattern. What I'm proposing is that we may get a move to the top of this megaphone pattern. That would take us to about 17,000 before a move down, and well above this previous all-time high. I'm going to go back to the day chart and draw in the sort of path that I think we could get, using my very fragile and shaky mouse pad to draw. So let's say we get something like this, and move down to the channel. I suppose we could put these in red because it's a move down. But I think what happens after that, if we do actually get that sort of pattern, is we get a bounce from there towards the top of the channel. Got to go back to the weekly chart to extend this line. And now it's all becoming a bit messy, but we'll finish this line off and it'll look something like that up to the top of the megaphone, and then a move down to somewhere in that sort of region. Let's make these portions green and then this one red. So what I'm suggesting is we'll get a move down to the top of this channel or thereabouts. Now there are lots of different areas that we could find support, and then followed by a bounce upwards to the top of the potential megaphone pattern, which we haven't formed. That would take us up to about 17,000 and some change, well above the previous all-time high, before a move down off the top of the megaphone, back down, back into the channel, and then much lower, moving into a bear market, which could take us below the 2022 lows. And in fact, we could go back to the post-COVID lows all the way down at 6,800, and that would look something like that. So I know it all looks pretty drastic and dramatic, this huge move down to the post-COVID lows, but it's a possibility. But first we need to focus on what's going to happen in the coming days. And I think this is the most likely scenario, move down to the channel top, maybe even slightly lower. We could get down as low as 14.5 to 15,000 before a bounce back up to the megaphone top. This megaphone that has not yet formed, of course, but it would be a good place for this price to turn around if we did get up there, followed by a move down in this very shaky, squiggly, spidery crawl down back into the channel, and then back down to the post-COVID lows all the way down here. That's a very strong and solid bear market, which would mean a drop. Down from the top of the megaphone to the COVID lows is about a 61.7% pullback. So a massive move down, which would create a huge bear market. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I think this is a possibility, maybe not a probability just yet. But still, I need to know what we're going to be doing over the next couple of days and weeks. And I think this is the scenario that I'll be looking for. A move back down to the channel, move back up to the top of the megaphone, and then a pullback into a dramatic bear market. That would take us into the first and the second quarters of next year. So we'd be aiming for about June, July for this move to take place. And before the big rundown, the initial move into somewhere around March next year. So that's it, folks. I hope you found that useful. That's my opinion on NASDAQ. Could be completely wrong, of course. I'm often wrong about things 3 times out of 10 at least. So that's quite a lot. So let's see how this plays out. But for today, we're short on NASDAQ, looking for this first move down, this little red squiggle, spidery mark down to the top of the channel. If you've enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends, and consider subscribing to the channel. Take care.